Continuing where we left off in the introduction to the terminal, let's cover a couple more common things. Let's go ahead and open up the terminal here, and I'm going to make this larger again so you can see this a little bit better. There we go. So first, every command comes with a manual, and we can invoke the manual to get a better understanding of how to use a given command. So let's use a command called defaults. This is handy for opening or editing plist files, those XML preference files we looked at that were in our library preferences folder. So here's what we do. First type in man, which is short for manual, and then the name of the command. In this case, the command is called defaults. I'll hit enter here. And you can see it opens up the general commands menu, and it just talks about the name of the command and what it does. Further down we have our description, and then we have our different ways to use the command. And we're actually going to be using the read command here in just a minute. You can read about how that works. It prints all the user's defaults for every domain to standard output, which in this case is text. But you can scroll through here and look up how to do things like write, delete, do all sorts of other things. Now, when you're getting to the bottom of the manual, or when you've gotten to the point where you have learned what you needed to learn or found what you needed to find, you can hit the Q key, and that'll take you back to the command line again. So we're back at the command prompt. So let's go ahead and try to use the defaults command to read a file. So what we need to do here is just type in defaults space read. So we're using that read command. And what I'm going to do here is just to make this easier on myself. I could type in a whole path here, but I'm actually going to just use the Go menu. And let's go ahead and hold down Option here. Hit Go Library. And scroll down here to find Preferences. And what I'm looking for is com.apple.doc.plist. So let's keep looking here. I think I just saw it. There we go. And let's just go ahead and drag and drop it into the interface here. And it goes ahead and puts the path in for me. Let's hit enter. So what it's now done is it's gone ahead and opened up in read-only format the entire plist file. So this is the entire XML for how our doc is supposed to be arranged. So we can actually scroll through here and pick out a few things. So one of the things that's kind of cool is orientation equals bottom. So yes, and of course, our doc is actually oriented to the bottom. We could do a default right, orientation equals left or right, and it would change the orientation of our doc on the next log out and log back in, or essentially the next time that the operating system reads that plist file. It also shows which applications are actually in the doc, and you can see them. We've got apps, we've got Safari, and we've got messages, and so on and so forth. So this really is just a complete detailing of exactly how our doc is arranged. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way back to the bottom here, and it just, after it read it back to us, we could look through it, and then we're back to a command prompt. So like I said, if we knew how to edit the XML properly here, we could use a defaults write command and enter the data that we want to change, and it would update our doc. But that would be sprinting, and we're literally just learning to crawl here. So let's try something just a little bit easier. Let's change the directory here to our desktop. So let's do a cd desktop. And we're back on our desktop here. And what I want to do is just create a folder. And we're going to name that folder Drew. And we do that using the mkdir command, which is short for make directory. So we'll do mkdir Drew. And we'll hit enter. And if you look right here, there's our folder. So that's great. Let's try another one. Let's do another folder. Let's call it my stuff. So we'll do a mkdir my stuff. Hit enter. Wait, what happened here? It actually created two folders. That one's called my and the other one's called stuff, and that is not at all what we wanted. But this is a good lesson in how to escape the space in the terminal to ensure that there's actually a space that's created. And we can actually do this in one of two ways. The way I like, and what I consider the easy way, is to use double quotes. So I can do mkdir, and then I can do my stuff with quotes around it like that, and hit enter. And now I have a folder called my stuff. And let me just delete that one here real quick because I'm going to use the other way here in a second. So we'll go ahead and add that to the trash. And let's go down here, and we can actually escape this out. And you can do this with any special character, but we'll do an mkdir. And then what we need to do here is my, and then if I can actually type, my, and then a backslash space stuff. And we'll hit enter there. And now we have a folder called my stuff. So you can do it either way. I personally prefer the quotes. So the same thing can go for special characters like this. So we could do another one like mkdir, and we could do Drew's stuff, and we can create a folder like that too. So let's go ahead and delete all of these folders except that first one. And we do this with the rm command and the -r flag for recursive delete. So here's how we do that. We'll do rm space -r, and we'll just get rid of the my folder here first. And now it's deleted. Now we can actually chain these together too, so just like we created multiple folders with a space, not on purpose, but we created my and stuff, we can actually delete these in a group as well. So we can do rm-r, and then we can do stuff space my stuff. So I've got the stuff folder, the my stuff folder, and the Drew's stuff folder. And we're just putting a space in between each directory here. We'll hit enter, and it gets rid of all of them. You see, for you Linux and Windows people, the Mac can be quote-unquote our real computer after all. Next, let's go ahead and change the permissions on this Drew folder. If you recall, we talked about how the Mac uses POSIX permissions, and we changed permissions using the getinfo command in a previous lesson. We can also make these changes to our folder using the command line. And to do this, we use the chmod command, and we specify the 3 numbers that align with the given permissions that we want to give the owner, the group, and everyone else. So first, let's verify the permissions as they are now. So we can do that here by just right-clicking and doing get info here. And here's our folder, and we can see the owner has read and write, which is me. Staff has read only, and everyone else also has read only. But I want to change this so that everyone has read and write. And that means that the owner and the group and everyone else should be 7s, which from our table means read, write, and execute. So let's go ahead and change that. I'll close out of get info and go back to the terminal here. And we're just going to do chmod, and we just put 7s. So a 7 for owner, a 7 for group, and a 7 for everyone, and then space, and the path then to our folder, which in this case is right here, which is Drew. Let's hit enter. All right, that completed. So let's go ahead and take a look at it again now with get info. And now you can see all 3 groups have read and write access. So we can do that very easily in the terminal, which is great. Also can be scripted. Finally, I have one more fun trick to show you. Let's rename our folder, and we do that using the mv command. So we do mv space, and then the name of the current folder, in this case it's Drew, and I want to change it to private. So we're going to go ahead and do a space, and then the new name. And let's go ahead and hit enter here. And you can see it updated the name, and now it's called private. Now let's take a look at what happens when I actually rename it and put a period in front of the name. So we're just changing it from private to .private. It's gone. It's magic. It disappeared. Now, did I delete it? No, I actually hid it. Any file that starts with a period in macOS is a hidden directory or file, and I can still get to it. So check this out. I can do a cd.private here, and I can be in that directory, and I can even make a new folder here. And in here I can just do an ls, and there's my hi there folder. See, so I have a folder created inside my hidden private folder, and I can even use the go menu to get there. So back into the GUI here, I can go up to the go menu, choose go to folder, and I can simply do users, DW Smith, desktop, .private, and you can find it here as well. So it's there, it's just hidden, and you can see, just like our library folder was, it's grayed out, so you can tell that it's a hidden directory. So this brings me to my last trick, showing hidden files and folders in the Finder. And we actually do this outside of the terminal. So let me just minimize the terminal here. And we'll get back to our desktop. And while I'm on the desktop or just browsing the Finder, if I hold down the Command key, the Shift key, and hit the period, it'll automatically turn on and show any of the hidden files or folders. So you can see there's my private folder right here. Let's go ahead and look at the root of the Macintosh hard drive. Let's go to Go, Computer. Let's go to Macintosh hard drive. And whoa, see all the hidden files at the root of the Macintosh hard drive? Not the simple 4-folder structure we were led to believe as an end user, right? So I'm not going to get into all of these hidden files, but I wanted to show you how you can toggle these on and off. So let's go ahead and just delete my private folder. So let's delete my private folder by dragging it to the trash here. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn off the showing of hidden folders as well. So again, I just hit Command, Shift, and period, and that just toggles those back off. So hopefully that was a little bit of fun. And if you're really into the macOS command line, there are some great resources online. And even through a simple Google Gemini AI search, you can get help to help you get the hang of some of those common commands. So feel free to explore more on your own. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next section.